She can't resist a dig at the royal family if she can get one in.
It wasn't like an Oprah-esque interview. It was meant to be about business and pots of jam. But of course, she can't stray very far away from her victim complex and all the trauma that happened to her during that time within the firm.
I much prefer she did stuff like this than slagged off the royals, but unfortunately she seems to want to do both.
Is this all there is? Is this what that entire fight for freedom was about? Like, if it all amounts to this bland cooking show and her prancing through a Montecito orchard in linens, really? I mean, like, it's sort of anticlimactic, to be honest, and it's kind of a bit sad, in my opinion.
I think that Harry, who wants a royal reconciliation back in the UK, has looked at it and kind of gone, I'm not a celebrity, I don't want to be in there.
I keep saying this, but it will probably be the final nail in the coffin for William, because Diana's story has been so sort of paraded out and used and abused, and then for your own son to go and capitalise off that with his craven wife.
Welcome to Royal Exclusive, where this week there is more bad news for Prince Andrew as Virginia Giuffre is set to publish a memoir from beyond the grave. Meghan is back on the promo trail as she pushes the second series of her cookery show, but what were the highlights and lowlights? And talking of highlights, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, debuts a new blonde hairdo. I'm The Sun's royal editor, Matt Wilkinson, and joining me in the studio this week, I'm pleased to welcome news commentator Samara Gill and journalist and royal author Phil Dampier. Right, I'm going to start with potentially an unpopular opinion, which might get me negative comments, but I watched Meghan's show, all 8 episodes, and I thought it was all right. It was inoffensive, didn't get too irate about it. It just kind of passed by and thought, that's just simple bit of fun. What I can't get over is on the day that she's released this huge second series, hoping to get loads of coverage, she somehow torpedoes her launch with these comments about the royal family, saying that she found her time there inauthentic and complaining about wearing these tights. Why's she done that, Phil?
Well, as ever, Matt, I would imagine she's done it for publicity. She can't resist a dig at the royal family if she can get one in. I mean, the idea that somebody, either another member of the royal family or a courtier, actually said to her, you must wear, I think she calls them, is it nude pantyhose? We call them neutral tights, isn't that right, in this country?
Yeah.
This is the UK classic
the idea that someone would
language.
actually tell her what underwear to wear and is ridiculous. But she also said that she missed her children while she was over. We assume that was when after the Queen died. And, you know, it's completely unnecessary to bring that all up now when she's basically trying to promote her cookery programme. I mean, what's that got to do with it? So I think it's going for publicity, but it's also trying to get another dig in. And I'm afraid that's, you know, it's not going to go down well at the palace. It's not going to go down well with William. And, you know, they will just see it as another attack on them. But in terms of the actual programme itself, I have to be honest, Matt, I haven't seen them. I've seen clips. I mean, my sort of theory is that life's a bit too short, really. I haven't watched them all.
Don't do it to yourself.
Yeah, no, I've seen the clips, I've read the reviews, and it's pretty much the same stuff as before. I think it was filmed about the same time as the first series. And it's the normal sort of mixture of bit of cookery, you know, a bit of promotion, few celebrity chef friends dropping in, and a couple of digs at the royals, and that's about it, really. But
we'll get into
some people will like it, and good luck to them, but it's not my cup of tea.
We'll get into some of the reviews. Obviously, you know, you might not be able to get stuck into the reviews, Phil, and tell us exactly what you think. We'll get stuck into some of the reviews about what people are saying, whether it is going to be a hit or not, and get your opinion on it. But Samara, I just want to return to this interview that Meghan's done with Bloomberg, where she was discussing about her time in the royal family. A question was posed to her about whether, how does she marry up, you know, the tension between what she's doing now and being a Duchess of Sussex. But it was 5 years ago. Why is she still referring back to settling old scores in the royal family?
Well, exactly, Matt. It was completely self-inflicted when she brought that up. They didn't really lead her down the path of, and how did you feel in the royal family? Did they suppress you? It wasn't like an Oprah-esque interview. It was meant to be about business and pots of jam. But of course, she can't stray very far away from her victim complex and all the trauma that happened to her during that time within the firm. I mean, it's pretty funny when that whole interview, she was trying to be relatable. You know, you could see her trying to get the smash burgers with the journalist and trying to walk through a bookshop and, you know, I'm an every woman, I'm living my California life. But the truth of the matter is that saying that wearing pantyhose and neutral colours was some form of suppression is not relatable at all. So she can't actually even fathom that would be sort of a horrible issue for her. I just think that she's absolutely incapable of being authentic, and that shined through in the Bloomberg interview.
Well, she also said that, talking about her past again, which we're believed that she had moved on from talking about Tom and the royal family, that she couldn't be so vocal. But when she was asked whether to defend what she said about Donald Trump in 2016, she didn't want to get involved. And she was talking about how she wanted to move on, and she was criticising the critics, and we'll get on some of the critics later, saying that the critics of her show just do it to pay the bills and probably go away and take part in her one skillet spaghetti. I just can't understand why she can't move on. But the worry that I have is that, her claim to fame is ultimately going to be that she walked out on the royals. She doesn't seem to have moved on with her show.
Well, she still likes calling herself the Duchess of Sussex, doesn't she? She picked somebody up on that when they called her Meghan Markle. So she wants to have a cake and eat it, doesn't she? She wants to, claim that they've left the royal family, claim they're nothing to do with it anymore, and they're not ruled by their rules anymore. Yet at the same time, sort of tells someone else that she's still the Duchess of Sussex. So it's a question of trying to have it both ways, isn't it?
Totally. I mean, even when
for commercial reasons.
Yeah, I mean, she was questioned about being relatable. She goes, well, that's someone else's detriment if they don't find me relatable. I mean, that's a very harsh thing to say to people who have said, that $9 pot of jam is something that I can't afford. She was saying it was for teenage girls so that they could have a slice of her lifestyle, which, again, out of touch, Meghan. I mean, $9 for a pot of jam is not cheap. Newsflash. No,
they're calling her Marie Antoinette Meghan, aren't they?
Yeah, well...
Let them eat jam.
Precisely, but she's given that name to herself. She's walked right into it, and I think that Bloomberg interviewer did a good job of kind of almost revealing that, but in a very subtle way.
Yeah, I just thought it was a mistake to put it out on the same day. Just let people watch the show, and I just thought that interview.
She also didn't she post a picture of Lilibet kissing a dog? It was Dog's Day as well. They couldn't leave that out. Had to sort of jump on the bandwagon of Dog's Day.
Well, and Harry surfing a wave, which it was just random, but I think she was trying to get some publicity out of him.
Harry's not in the show, is he? So that's quite interesting. That there's nothing of Harry at all. Might be a photograph of him in the background or something, but he's not in it. So I think that's quite significant. And that plays into the sort of feeling that they're going their separate ways commercially. He's doing his charity work and she's doing that. But no, he's not in it apparently. So
no, he's not.
Well, let's get on to the show.
We don't see him coming in and even lick the plate or something.
Yeah,
test it out.
Netflix, yeah, they wouldn't have been happy.
Well, let's get on to the show because, Phil, you've seen clips. I've watched all 8 episodes. I said that I just found it inoffensive and, it just passed me by and relatively enjoyable, but moved on. Samara, the critics have been rather scathing again, like they were on Series 1. I'll just read some of the ones that we have so far. The Times says, save yourself, don't do it. The Guardian,
save yourself.
So painfully contrived that it's genuinely fascinating. And Phil, you touched on this. The Telegraph says more tone deafness from the Montecito Marie Antoinette. Are these over the top, or do you share these views?
I mean, what's really interesting is that she's unified the entire media spectrum. I mean, from the so-called, left-wing to right-wing media, Everyone hates this. So you can't just say, oh, it's trolls trying to pay their bills, as Meghan does say. It's everyone that doesn't actually enjoy the show as a piece of television. I mean, it was... I know you might have enjoyed it, but I thought...
I didn't enjoy it. I just found it bearable.
Yeah, I know, and I know what you mean by saying that, but I think that for the amount of money that it took to produce, the amount of resources that went into it, over 80 crew members, it could have been a lot more spectacular, and it wasn't. So purely as a piece of television, I can see why the reviews have been so scathing.
All those critics that you're reading out are all British, though, aren't they? I'd be interested. We've got a lot of American viewers on this programme. I'd be interested to know what the American reviews are or how it goes down in the States. I mean, a lot of the celebrities, I've never heard of them, to be honest, but they're probably quite big names in America, her friends who've dropped in. So it'd be interesting to know how it goes down in the States, but certainly over here it's been panned, but that's probably not their main audience.
But why do we think the reviews are so bad? Is it because it is dreadful, as people have pointed out, or is there just, a general hate watch on Meghan shows and there is everyone's just in this channel where anything Meghan does is bad, or is it really that bad?
I think it's just the fact that nobody believes that she's, one of the guests says that apparently she is a very good cook, but we've got no evidence of that. She says she doesn't like baking, funnily enough, which Kate, actually, the Princess of Wales, apparently is a very, very good baker, a very good chef on that front. But I just don't think people believe that she's actually an expert, and so she's just jumping on the sort of celebrity chef bandwagon and doing it purely because of who she is. And, she hasn't really got much to tell us about anything sort of particularly new about cooking. It's just sort of, promoting a few products and cue this QI code at the end, and that'll lead you to this product. And I think on the last series, they sold out, didn't they, the products, but they didn't make very many of them. So whether Netflix have made much money out of that or not, we don't know. But I just think people just think it's not very authentic, is it?
No, I mean, people really wonder, I think, when they watch it. I mean, I was even surprised because I really did go into season 2 with an open mind, if you could believe it. But and then she basically mentions every single activity that she does, a lot of the recipes, that she's never done it before and it's her first time doing it. And I'm just thinking, I mean, genuinely for almost everything that she did in that show. And I'm just thinking, then why should we listen to you? Why are you the authority on how to cook this pasta, on how to make this silk screen marbling thing that she was doing? Why? I mean, I might as well just go on TikTok or on YouTube and look for a tutorial. And that's why it's really almost like this display, this me. It's to show that I can do this and I can do that. It's not an instructional, which is typically what a cooking show is.
You're not going to learn very much from it, are you? I don't think,
Well, she's learning. She's learning for the first time.
She goes along,
Yeah.
Well, it did feel almost retro in many ways because it feels kind of old-fashioned, I think. It feels a little bit like 10, 15 years old. But I remember in that Bloomberg interview we were discussing earlier, the woman said, the interviewer, Emily Chang, I think, said to her, well, you can just get AI recipes on now. And Meghan had never heard of that idea before. It does feel a little bit dated. But is it a safe space for Meghan? She, apart from that interview she did afterwards where she started criticising her time on the Royals, isn't it just a safe space that we just want her to go away in and just be inoffensive?
Well, the proof of the pudding will be easy, wouldn't it? If the ratings are no good, they won't make... I don't know if they've made a third series. I doubt it, have they? I mean...
What do we think, a third series?
The point is, because this second series was made around about the same time, they're obviously going to get it out there anyway, get their sort of penny's worth. But whether they make a third series will all depend on the ratings. And what I gather from the last one, it sort of shot into the top 10 to start with and then dropped right back to 384 or something. So, so I don't think that's likely she's going to make another series. But I mean, certainly, I much prefer she did stuff like this than slagged off the Royals. But unfortunately, she seems to want to do both. So that's the problem. If she was just exclusively doing this and not, and left the digs out, then fair enough. But you still get that horrendous, thought that there's more to come.
Well, exactly. I mean, that question is so valid, Matt, about, she's just prancing around, she's in her safe space, she's doing her thing. It would be fine if there wasn't this sort of destruction that has come in the past 5 years towards the royal family and towards a lot of other people along the way. I feel like it's like, is this all there is? Is this what that entire fight for freedom was about? Like, if it all amounts to this bland cooking show and her prancing through a Montecito orchard in linens, really? I mean, like, this, it's sort of anticlimactic, to be honest. And it's kind of a bit sad, in my opinion. I mean, it should have been more. Genuinely. I mean, even looking at past TIG blog reviews and things like that, she had so much more spirit and so much more to offer. Now it's just sort of like very manufactured.
I think if she'd gone out and interviewed top chefs or something like that, and let them do the cooking and let them do the talking, or interviewed some interesting people, or got something out of them. But the fact it's all about her. That's what makes it difficult to watch because, let's face it, she's not popular with a lot of people, and they're just not going to watch it in the first place. But
she did dribble out they managed to get a few little nuggets about royal family. She spoke about, about her wedding. Trying to think of the others now, actually, but there were several there. She was talking about...
Daniel was back, the makeup artist.
She mentioned Harry's name several times, but as you pointed out, he didn't appear, only in a couple of photos. She said that Harry was the first to say, "I love you."
She said Harry doesn't like lobster.
She said Harry doesn't like lobster. But
so we know that now. That's going to change our lives. He doesn't like lobster.
Whoa.
I mean, you can't beat stuff like that, can you?
I understand that I'm probably alone here thinking that it was just all right.
You just had nothing else to do that weekend, didn't you? So for you, it was exciting, but I was in the south of France. So.
But there was a few little royal nuggets in there. She spoke about when she came over, she missed her children. I mean, are these not things that royal fans want to listen to and hear?
Are the children in it? But albeit,
children weren't in it. No.
They're not in it. No. I thought she might have slipped them in. She slipped them in this thing the other day about the dogs.
Tell us about the dogs, Phil.
But surely introducing the children. What is this? Showing their faces. It's just a matter of time, a year or two, before we see their faces.
Of course.
But let's face it, these kids are 6th and 7th in line to the throne.
Yeah.
And we don't even know what they look like.
Well, exactly.
So it's only a matter of time before they, I hesitate to use the word exploit them, but use them, in some sort of commercial enterprise, and then, then we're in a different territory.
Well, is this what's happening at the moment? You mentioned about the dog there. Well, Meghan posted a video of a surprise framed photo Harry had given of a late dog.
Yeah, her dog died about a year ago,
Yes.
and this was Dog's Day, so little Lilibet was kissing a photo of the dog, which I think Harry had framed. So it was all very twee, all very nice, but you know, I think we had enough to take in with the cookery without the Dog Day as well.
Yeah, I find the fact that Harry is not in all of this really kind of, I'm sorry, but like kind of creepy. Like, he's not in the series, he's just present in the background. Like, we just see some black and white photos of him. Then we see on her Instagram story a gift that he's given her, but we never see him. And I find it really weird. I know that obviously it does show that professionally they are parting ways and really separating professionally. But I think that...
He could have been in the background, couldn't he, opening the wine?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Johnny did for Fanny Craddock. I mean, you've got to go back a few years there, but, you know, somebody he could have been opening the wine, making it all relaxed, you know, but chilling out with some Californian Chardonnay or something, but we didn't even see that.
Some Meg Rosé, you know.
Yeah, Meg Rosé.
It's all about family, her show. It's all about bringing people together. But her husband, nowhere to be seen.
No.
Well, I was asked to write a review of this, and I suggested that, you know, there's the scenes in it of Meghan with a hand in a chicken and eating sea urchin gonads, where it felt like a bush tucker trial on I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. And I think that Harry, who wants a royal reconciliation back in the UK, has looked at it and kind of gone, I'm not a celebrity, I don't want to be in there. And I think that Harry maybe felt it wiser to just take him away from him hanging around with celebrities.
Give it time, he'll be in the jungle eventually, and when the money runs out in 5 years' time, he'll go into I'm a Celebrity.
We did discuss about whether there was anything more from this show, and clearly it is to promote and sell her As Ever products. And some more products were released to coincide. I think there was some extra wine, or was a new wine website, I believe, for As Ever. But I don't think everything's sold out. Is this right? I don't think anything's sold out as a result of the show launch, where previously some of her As Ever products have sold out.
It's pretty damning. I mean, it's what you've been saying for a long time. She revealed in that Bloomberg interview that she only really put out a couple thousand pots to begin with, which is a really, really small number considering, you know, all the traction, media traction that had leading up to it. And she said, you know, scalability is really tough. And she basically revealed that they've ordered, you know, close to 1 million pots of jam in order to kind of get the to get the demand. But I think clearly it not selling out is a massive failure. I mean, even watching that Bloomberg interview, I was realising, you know, they usually interview people who have businesses on the stock exchange. And what we're really talking about here is pots of jam. I think Taylor Swift's engagement, some people are saying that quelled a lot of the news that came out. Some people could disagree with that, but
bad timing, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was bad timing.
Yeah.
Was it deliberate timing?
Wow. What, Taylor Swift, just to do her in?
Because it was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it, that I think they actually...
Well, we know Taylor and William have, you know, they've met before. There's lots of photos of them together. They've got a close relationship. Maybe they'll get an invite to the Taylor wedding. But yeah, it really did bury a lot of the Meghan news yesterday. That is true. I think
we're reading a bit too much into it, conspiracy theories. I think it was just a coincidence.
Yeah, no,
but it didn't help, did it?
It did not help selling those pots of jam. I think maybe she scaled up too quickly and sort of underestimated the demand.
Yeah.
No, that Bloomberg interview was really interesting because they were talking about. She said that the Sussexes or Archwell or As Ever, whichever brand it is now, I get lost, would not reveal how much they'd sold.
Yeah, which if you're doing an interview with a publication that's all about numbers and profits and margins, I mean, it's really weird to do that. Like, massive companies will share their numbers with Bloomberg.
Yeah. So. Now, the first series hit number 10, and then I think it dwindled down to about number 350 odd. Do you have any predictions for series 2? Is it going to be a ratings hit? I
think she's going to soar to about number 20 and then slip back to 504 is my prediction. But I've no idea. I mean, if people like it and they want to watch it, great. But I won't be sitting there
higher or lower,
wasting my time.
I think lower. I mean, I think it's actually been a colossal disaster this season 2. At least she went on Drew Barrymore's show and did the proper media rounds last time, and that's her target audience.
But Matt says it's better. The second series is better than the first.
It's a low bar.
It's a low bar.
But yeah, it might be better, but sequels usually don't do that well. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on, if we can try, from this show, because this is one thing that they've got going on. One thing that 100% that we know is happening as part of their new Netflix deal. But what we also know is that there is a long list of ideas for Harry and Meghan with their new Netflix first look deal. And on that long list is a potential documentary with Harry about his mother, Princess Diana. Now, she died in 1997, so it will be the 30th anniversary in 2027. So producers and directors and film crews are looking at how they, can commemorate what happened to Diana. So it's on the long list, first refusal deal. Netflix will surely want to do this if Harry gives the go-ahead. Is this a wise plan from Harry and Netflix?
I think Netflix will bite his arm off for this one. I mean, I think this is something that would be absolutely massive. And to be fair to Harry, for once, it would be very interesting to get his take on his mother. It won't go down very well with the King or with Prince William. I think they'll be absolutely horrified. And Prince of Wales will particularly think that his mother's being exploited when he wants to sort of leave that all behind him. But I can see him doing this. I mean, I think A, it would be a massive money spinner, and B, Harry will probably treat it as some sort of therapy. He'll convince himself that it's therapy for him. He's getting a lot of things off his chest and putting his truth out there about what happened to his mother, how it devastated him as a young boy. What was he, 12 when she died? How it affected him. Something we read about in Spare. That he obviously bottled up for 20, 30 years and finally came out in all its glory. And, you can't take that away from him. It must have been devastating for him. But I just think that, William will be horrified by this, but I can well see him doing this. Netflix have now got this deal with them where it's on a one-by-one, case-by-case basis, and this is an absolute winner for them. So, yeah, I think I'd be surprised now if it doesn't happen.
It could be a winner for Netflix. Samara, is it a winner for Harry and the royal family if they were to do this?
I think that's quite the issue is, as Phil said, it's Harry's side of the story, but the problem is it will be read as the Diana story. That's the way they produce things. They produce things as if that is fact, that is what happened. And it's very much should be, which it won't be, a collaborative project between the brothers because they both have different experiences. And I think that, interestingly, obviously, Diana's story is a very sensitive and coveted story to tell. And I think Harry and Meghan will absolutely butcher it with their own lens. So I really think that it could be a potential disaster because they will tell their side. It will be totally, this is what happened. And that, I think, will be I keep saying this, but it will probably be the final nail in the coffin for William because Diana's story has been so sort of paraded out and used and abused. And then for your own son to go and capitalise off that with his craven wife, that's the pinnacle for me.
Well, he will turn it into one long, criticism of the press. He'll say that the press killed his mother.
Yes.
Whereas in one of the most interesting things that William's ever said publicly, I think, a few years ago, was when he's admitted that his own mother was paranoid. I don't think people picked up enough on that. Clearly, William realised that she was paranoid and she did have problems, and she brought some of her problems on herself. And that was all kind of forgotten when she died because, we were all so shocked by her young death, death at such a young age. But and she was sort of kind of put on a pedestal. Yeah. When in the sort of 2 years leading up to that, we've all been writing about the numerous affairs she was having, So Harry's I'm not saying it's going to be a whitewash, but it's going to be his version of the truth, as always. And it'd be fascinating watch, but I don't think, but William will be horrified by it. It's as simple as that, really. But he can't stop him doing it,
Well, William was there for so many moments. I mean, putting tissues through the door for Diana, counselling. He was really her main port of counsel because he was obviously a little bit older. So to not have him involved in that sort of thing is egregious.
He'd probably claim he asked him to get involved and he turned it down,
I wonder why.
Not surprisingly. So he'll be able to say that. But, it's a non-starter. He's not going to get involved with that, is he?
It's a really interesting point. And we're talking there about William and Harry do have different views or different memories. I think William's of Diana, because William's a little bit older. And I think those statements you were talking about there about the paranoia, that was after the Lord Dyson interview, Lord Dyson investigation into Bashir, where William kind of said, well, yeah, I'm a bit more realistic about this. And, she did have paranoia, whereas Harry maybe lionises his mother a little bit longer, she's a bit younger.
They chased her to her death. That's what he'll say. I mean, especially if he loses any more court cases, it'll be an opportunity for him to get to blame the paparazzi and blame the British press. So it's. I'm sure that's what will happen if he does this show.
But it is a shame. Like 10 years after her death, they did the concert for Diana at Wembley, where they were dancing there in Wembley, both dancing in the stadium, and there was Elton John was there and all sorts. Kanye West, I think, was there. All sorts of people playing.
That aged well. That whole thing.
Well. 20 years after they went to Kensington Palace and they looked at the flowers that people had left, and 10 years ago. They did something else as well, which I can't remember.
Yep.
But they definitely got together for Diana. And they also went and unveiled a statue for Diana when she would have turned 60 at the Sunken Garden at Kensington Palace.
That's one thing that unites them, isn't it? Their mother, could bring them together. And obviously if she
could a documentary do that?
If she was still alive, you'd like to think they wouldn't have, half of this would never have happened. But we are where we are. And that's it. But what are we? We're halfway through 2025, so they have to get going on this fairly quickly if it's going to come out in time. It'll takes time to make these programmes.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's 90% certain he'll do it.
Well, they've realised polo doesn't sell. Let's go sell my mother down the river. That's what it seems like to me.
It's the one thing that they're guaranteed they're going to get a massive audience for.
Yeah, and Netflix will, as you say, bite their hand off for that, 100%. I've been looking because it's been quite controversial and sad at the moment. So I've been looking down my list of stories for something to kind of cheer us up. But the next one on my list is Virginia's memoir will be published in October. So we're not getting any more positive at the moment. So Virginia Giuffre obviously died in April. Had a terrible life, I think, to be quite frank. And she has worked apparently on this memoir for 4 years before she died. It's 400 pages long. We are told that it's going to be intimate and disturbing, heartbreaking new details about her time with Epstein, Maxwell and Prince Andrew. This is an absolute nightmare for Prince Andrew, isn't it, in the royal family? But Virginia Giuffre maybe has every right to tell her story. What's your guys' thoughts?
But I find it astonishing that, obviously she was extremely disturbed and very, very sad situation that she committed suicide, seemingly. Makes you wonder, you would have thought the book would have kept her going, knowing the book was going to come out and she was going to get her side of the story out even more. So she must have been in a terrible state. So it's very, very tragic. But this is, clearly going to haunt Andrew she's going to haunt Andrew and others from beyond the grave, so to speak. And, he must be worried about what's going to come out.
Yeah, but I do think this book is a nightmare for him and actually the royal family in general, because I think that they thought after she died that whole thing had been kind of put to bed. Andrew could kind of go off into the shadows, not to be really seen publicly again or not to be seen with the family. That's not true. Yes, from beyond the grave, she is still kind of haunting them, so to speak. And I think that this will kind of go on and on and on. It won't. The fact that she even wrote a book, not to sound tinfoil hat, and Phil, you were saying this too, shows a lot about the fact that, it just puts into question a lot of what's happened around her death and puts a lot of unanswered things around it. Even the fact that she posted on Instagram that she was fighting for her life 4 days beforehand. I think the conspiracy theorists will have a field day with this whole thing.
Well, in the email she sent to the journalist, I think it's Amy Wallace, the email she sent to the author, it was Amy Wallace, who's helped her write the book, which will come out in October. She said it was a heartfelt wish, this is shortly 3 weeks before her death, she said it was a heartfelt wish that the memoir be released regardless of her circumstances. But she's in this email, she's talking about the book will shed the light on systematic failures that allowed trafficking of vulnerable individuals, imperative the truth is understood, for the sake of justice and awareness. And she says, in the event of my passing, I would like to ensure that Nobody's Girl is still released. I believe it has the potential to impact many lives and foster necessary discussions about these grave injustices. There's going to be other people, not just Andrew, quite worried about this. But what else does it mean to the royal family as a whole to have a book now coming out that's from Virginia about Prince Andrew?
Well, I don't think it'd get much worse for him. There's no way he's going to come back. It would just reconfirm for both the King and for the Prince of Wales that there's no way back for him. I think it's going to be even worse for him when William becomes king, because I think he really will try and kick him out of the Royal Lodge. He was up last week, a few days ago, at Balmoral with the King. Fergie, his ex-wife, was up there, and I think their children went up there as well with their families. So, you know, they're still welcome at family holidays and still welcome, probably see them next Christmas. I think we'll probably see them at Sandringham. And, you know, he's not going to completely ostracise him from family events. I mean, that would be ridiculous. But, you know, there's just no way that he's going to be able to come back as a working royal in any way, shape or form. And this is just yet another, you know, another example of why he can't, you know. But that's where we are. So I think that's all it means to the royal family. There's not much more they can say about it, really, or much more they can do about it, apart from, you know, just make sure that he's in a corner somewhere, and that's it.
Yeah.
We talk about being in a corner. So you point out he was at Balmoral for a week, I think, or about roughly a week up there with Sarah. But we photographed him disappearing from the estate at 6 a.m. on Sunday. This is the day. It's quite a big day in the royal calendar. It's the day where all the royal family go to Crathy Kirk Church. The King, the Queen, Catherine, William, their 3 children, I think Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, were pictured going there. And it's quite a big day in the summer. It's a time when we get them all together for photographs. A couple of years ago, Andrew was in the car with William.
Yeah.
Do you think he was banished from this family event this time?
I don't know is the short answer. You know, he'd been up there a week. They do come and go. Not that they stay in the same place. I mean, they tend to stay in separate cottages and parts of the castle. So that's not a problem. Plenty of rooms up there. But there's no love lost between William and Andrew. There's no doubt about that. I mean, that was highlighted in Andrew Lowney's book recently, and he even said that Harry had a fist fight with Andrew. So that he's not a great fan of his either. So, you know, he's unfortunately, he's the bad uncle at the moment. He's not particularly welcome, and you know, I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Was there anything interesting about the trip to Crathy Kirk Church? I mean, at the front page of our paper, we have the wonderful Princess of Wales with a potentially, or is it just the filter, or is it just the way the picture was taken, but potentially with a new blonde haircut?
I think she's gone blonde, like quite blonde. The highlights are really showing. I mean, she's actually, if you look, she's been gradually going gradient by gradient, more and more light. If you look at, you know, photos from like 2007, she's completely quite, you know, very dark. I think with her hair, I think it's a nice touch. I think that she's gone through a lot. The hair has been a massive conversation for her, considering her cancer diagnosis, and I think that it's nice. I mean, my hairdresser once said to me, "As you get older, go lighter. That's the answer." So I think she's just taken that advice.
They've been on holiday, haven't they? Haven't they been on a yacht in Greece, around the Mediterranean? So the sun might have the sun, as in the sun in the air, not the Sun newspaper. You know, it has had an effect on her. But it could be a combination of, you know, slightly lighter because of the effects of the sun, and also the lighting on that particular day. But until we see her on a job, we won't know if she's gone legally blonde, so to speak.
Do you think she suits blonde?
No, I prefer brunette. I think she looks much better darker.
She is like the most iconic brunette ever. I think since I've been going, like since I was probably 12 years old going to the hairdresser, I've been showing photos of her genuinely to them to be like, please just do whatever this is. Of course, they never, I'm not Kate, but she needs to stay brunette. If she's actually that exact colour, I'll be like, Kate, you need to reel it back a little bit.
It actually looks like she's blonde on one side and dark on the other, doesn't it, in that photo? It's a bit like...
That would be a whole other conversation. Crisis.
Well, it wasn't just that photo. There was some other photos from a different angle where she definitely looked like she had a lighter hair.
So we'll see her on a proper job. We won't really know, will we?
No.
Until it, but it's a talking point. It gave you a great headline, "Heir to the Throne" or whatever.
Because I remember when her and William went to the Isle of Mull. For Valentine's Day, I think there was a couple of engagements and we joined them up there to report on it. She definitely had lighter coloured hair there, and I'm told that in the summer she just goes a little bit lighter. So maybe it's just temporary. But, however, this time last year, we were talking about William's new beard, because William revealed his beard when he went to the drive to the church, and that stayed. Yeah,
he obviously thinks it suits him. He does look good, I think, with the beard.
Yeah, I mean, when you're lacking on one sort of end of the spectrum.
Well, I was going to say, there's always this compensation thing if you're going bald, isn't there? But you know, whether completely bald with a beard looks good, I'm not sure about that. But I think at the moment he looks good, and he looks he looked back at the photos of the royals, in decades and centuries gone by, and he's following in a big family tradition there with the beards. So yeah, I think it suits him.
Well, if this is a thing now where the royals come up, debut a new look in the summer, that maybe Catherine will keep the blonde hair for the rest of the year. We'll have to wait and see.
New house, new look, new everything for them.
New start. We talk about them up there having their summer holiday. And it is quite a long summer holiday, to be honest. It's like 3 or 4 weeks, I think, in total when they're actually up there at Balmoral. They needed to relax. Do we think that As Ever and Virginia's new book has caused a few sleepless nights at Balmoral?
I'm not sure about that. I think hopefully they're through the worst of it. Hopefully she's well again. I do sometimes worry that that she's. I don't want to put this and be unkind to her, because I don't doubt for one moment that she was, ill and needed treatment and has been through an horrendous ordeal. None of us know until you get cancer or a serious illness how you're going to deal with it. But I do fear sometimes that maybe it might be difficult to get back to work for her, or do quite as much work as perhaps people would like to see her. But hopefully that will end soon, and she will be coming back, and we'll see a lot more of her. I think the family's obviously the priority, so they very much want to make sure that the kids have a very good comforting and happy childhood, there's nothing wrong with that, and they know they're going to have to take on massive responsibility at some point in the future. So you can understand it all, but I think obviously with the King, with his still battling on with his condition, and he and Camilla both being in their 70s, they do need a lot of support from William and Kate. So it's going to be 10 years before, George, Charlotte and Louis, can potentially row in with royal duties. So, a hell of a lot is riding on William and Kate, and you can understand them wanting to sort of keep a normal life for as long as possible. But at some point, they're going to have to step up and do a lot more. And, the main thing is she gets well and is in, top form when that happens.
Now, Samara, one person who was at Balmoral for her first time was Harriet Sperling. She's engaged to Peter Phillips.
Yes.
We don't have a wedding date yet. We're waiting for it, waiting for the invite. It's called the Balmoral test. It's where the future husband or wife gets to go to Balmoral and meet the family. What on earth goes on? I mean, could you imagine marrying into the royal family and going up to Balmoral and going through this Balmoral test, especially all the things that we've been talking about this week? There's so much drama, isn't there, if you're going to marry into the royals?
Yeah, there really is. There's this fine line between sort of being stoic and being the every woman or every man at that test, and then also, kind of getting along with the royal family. I think there's been so many iconic people who have been put through it. Obviously, Diana got through with flying colours, and the Queen really came out liking her, at least that's what was reported. Margaret Thatcher, I think, did appallingly with the Balmoral test, or at least that's kind of what some sources do say. I mean, I feel like, Phil, you've got something to say on this.
Tony Blair was so bored, he and his wife conceived their son there.
Yeah, they had a lot of time.
Leo, he was conceived at Balmoral, apparently. But yeah, I mean, if she wants to, she can, and Peter Phillips loves shooting. It is, hunting, shooting and fishing. There's not very little else to do up there. They go out, they go fishing for salmon in the River Dee, they go shooting stags. And, that's what they get up to. So we don't see photographs of that anymore. I think it's probably going on behind closed doors, but that's what it's all about. So if she's into blood sports and hunting, shooting and fishing, she'll have a whale of a time. But, she's already passed the Ascot test, hasn't she? She's been to Ascot.
Yeah.
So she's, and they are engaged now, aren't they? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully she's going to be, but of course, he's not a working royal, so this is all fairly sort of just a bit of gossip, isn't it? A bit of society gossip. He's not a working royal, so she's not going to be doing any duties, but it's just of interest.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll do just fine, and I also think
it's very strange when you come in as an outsider and meet all these people, and the King, have a chat with Charles.
I know. I mean, I feel like more these days it's actually reversed. It's like, are you okay with getting into this family? Are you okay with what comes along with that?
This dysfunctional family.
Yeah, exactly. So I think actually, it's changed a lot.
Normal people.
Yeah, from its humble beginnings, it's not what it used to be. The Balmoral test.
Would you marry into the royal family if you had the chance?
There's the question. There's the question.
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, of course. I mean, why not? Yeah, it's just there's no prince that's come along to pick me up. Yeah, Princess Samara. That does not have a ring to it.
No, I think it sounds great.
And you can still come back on this show when you are. You can come back as the
Thank you.
as the princess.
No. I'll be a hard booking for you. Don't worry.
All right, we've got time for our quickfire questions.
Oh, quickfire questions.
All right, so take a deep breath. Meghan has had some bigger names on Series 2 of With Love, Meghan, but who would you like to see her cook with in a Series 3?
Her family. I want to see her family. I think this whole that's the whole thing that's been missing. She's sanitized her dad out of it, which is hilarious considering he was the bedrock of her entire childhood. I'd like to see her family come together. I want some authenticity, Meghan.
Nice answer.
What about Greg Wallace? American viewers won't know.
He needs a job.
Yeah, American viewers won't know who he is. So Elton John. Let's have Elton in there doing a bit of cooking. I'm sure he'd be good at it, and singing at the same time. They could do a duet. Don't go breaking my tart or something, or you know.
Well, that'd be probably the first proper A-lister to come on.
Yeah. Someone we've heard of.
Yeah. Don't go breaking my tart.
Don't go breaking my tart. Thanks, Phil. Great dad joke.
Always,
love it.
Once the Sun reporter, always the Sun reporter.
What is your favourite royal book or memoir?
Well, I don't think I was thinking about this. I don't think you can beat Diana: Her True Story by Andrew Morton. I mean, that was an extraordinary book which had about 15 stories in it, which would have been Splash's front page stories in their own right. And the fact that later on we learnt that Diana had signed off the whole thing, you know, and was behind it all, made it even more amazing, really. But I don't think you're ever going to beat that book in terms of its impact. So that for me would be the. And it wasn't a long book. It was just an amazing. You know, you could sit down and read it, you know, in one go. Really, you couldn't stop reading it. And I don't think anyone who hasn't read it, you know, should give it a go.
I thought you were going to mention one of yours, Phil. I'm quite disappointed by that.
What, The Wit and Wisdom of Prince Philip?
Yeah.
Well, What's in the Queen's Handbag? That's another belter.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't get them anymore, unfortunately. Only on, you know, Tuppence Halfpenny on Amazon. But they're great books.
I've got one.
Bestsellers. They're bestsellers.
Yeah. I would say Palace Papers by Tina Brown. I know that it's not a memoir, but royal book it could fall into the category of. It's absolutely my Bible. I mean, I've read that thing page to page probably like 5 times because I just love how Tina Brown puts words into a sentence and creates this whole story. And she's just like, for me, she's one of the best royal writers. So yeah, I love her. And Palace Papers.
2 good tips there if anyone's still looking for holiday books as well, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's a beach read.
And finally, in light of Kate's new hairdo, which royal has the best hair? And you're not allowed to pick the Princess of Wales.
I would say Princess Anne.
Okay.
Because she does it herself, apparently, every day. It takes her 5 or 10 minutes. Wherever she is in the world, she does it herself, just gets it up into this, what do you call it, a bun, is it? Or
Yes.
And just gets on with the job. So
it's
I think
iconic.
you've got to give her credit for you know, getting it into a situation where when she, on her wedding day, when she had her hair down, she looks absolutely stunning, Princess Anne, you know, but you know, now in her mid-70s, she's very much, you know, work is her big thing, still the hardest working member of the royal family, I'd say, and her hair is just something to be, you know, got into position and then off she goes. So I think, you know, credit for that.
It's the hairstyle of duty.
Yeah.
She's. I would say Prince Philip is my total. I mean, I know that's a strange suggestion, but I think he's so dapper. He was so dapper, and they just like don't make men like that anymore. I want that hairstyle to come back. You know, the slick back, the part in the off
Quite long at
center.
the back sometimes.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I can absolutely see how the Queen fell for him and how they did have quite an iconic kind of love story there with ups and downs. But yeah, I think he's still.
I thought he was quite a catch, did you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. If you look at the pictures back in the 40s, 50s, 60s or whatever that, and
this morning I was looking through them. I was like, couldn't find that on the high street these days.
I'm just going to chuck in Queen Camilla. I think every time I see her, I think she's very well coiffured.
Jo Hansford has done her highlighting for years, hasn't she? Still goes to her. She's very good at it. Yeah, and,
she always looks glam. I think that goes under the radar.
Transformed her image when she lightened her hair up like that. Yeah.
Right. Well, thanks, guys. I think we've covered a lot. We've gone from Azet, we've gone from With Love Meghan all the way to haircuts, I think, and everything in between. So thanks very much for coming on and giving your expertise and your opinions. It's always enjoyable. Thank you. Right, that's all we have time for on this week's Royal Exclusive. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments as we do read them, and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. We'll see you next week.